This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Wednesday, 17th April 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. The Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, is depending on information and data sent to institutions from Trinidad and Tobago relating to the premature deaths of 7 babies at the Port of Spain General Hospital before determining the composition of its team, which will probe the incident. This confirmed by Minister of Health Terence Singh in the Senate yesterday during the question and answer period Tuesday morning. Recently, Minister Singh said PAHO and the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute, CARIRI, and the Office of the Chief Medical Officer will all be investigating the development. The Senate was told by the end of Tuesday or Wednesday, parents of the 7 babies who died at the NICU unit at the Port of Spain General Hospital should be provided with the medical notes and records requested from the hospital. Minister Singh provided the update responding to a question posed by opposition Senator Jayanti Lakshmi Ramdial. Meanwhile, attorneys representing 7 families who have signaled their intention to pursue a class action lawsuit over the deaths of their children at the neonatal intensive care unit have identified an 8th potential family to add to their case. In the letter, attorney Suan Desaran provided details about Nandrani Nathu, whose son Jaden Pierre died at the hospital on March 16th, a few weeks before the 7 babies died over a 4-day period. Desaran said Nathu initially believed her baby's death was not questionable based on claims by doctors that came forward after recent reports on the 7 cases. According to Desaran, Pierre was born prematurely via C-section at the Sangre Grande Hospital on the 22nd of February and transferred to Port of Spain. She claimed doctors did not indicate any issues with the baby besides his premature birth until March 4th, when Nathu and the child's father, Alistair Pierre, were reportedly told the child had a bacterial infection in his blood and was being treated with antibiotics while lab testing was pending. The child then was requested to have a blood transfusion. She said the transfusion was performed on March 15th, and the parents were told the child's condition was improving. It subsequently started to deteriorate. According to the parents, Jaden appeared swollen and bruised with discoloration on his hands, feet, face, and forehead. He died some hours later, leaving the couple devastated and distraught. Investigations are continuing. The government admits it cannot predict the future and there are risks involved, and remaining confident that discussions entered into with Democrats and Republicans and public servants in America relating to energy matters will hold strong even if the current administration changes in the upcoming U.S. elections. The optimism from Minister of Energy and Energy Industry Stuart Young while being interviewed yesterday on the Power Breakfast Show. During deliberations with the U.S. government, certain commitments were given relating to the licenses granted to TNT on October 17th, 2023 by the Office of Foreign Assets Control Department of the Treasury with respect to the development of the Dragon gas field. The Education Ministry is working closely with police as a probe continues into the death threats made to teachers and students of the Barrackport East Secondary School. Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Dr. Amory Brown, said the ministry is doing all that's required to ensure safety and security of children, teachers, and administrators at the school. Minister Brown was responding on behalf of the Education Minister, who was not present at the time of the sitting. Meanwhile, Education Minister Dr. Nian Gatsby-Donnelly sought to assure parents all was being done to treat with the issue in an interview with the media. In news of the region, the Guyana government is assuring it will do what is required to address the frequent blackouts being experienced in the country nationwide. Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Asing Singh described the situation as unacceptable, adding the government is focusing on delivering solutions. And finally, Israel called Tuesday for new sanctions against Iran as part of the response to the Iranian military and some of its allies launching an unprecedented aerial attack on the Jewish state. Israel's Foreign Minister Katz said on social media he reached out to more than 30 nations to push for sanctions against Iran's missile programs and for declaring Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning to you.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Good morning, neighbors. Good hump day Wednesday morning, neighbors. It is Hump Day Wednesday. The weekend is in sight, the 17th day of April. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital, as well as those on Me TV. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, full casting this morning. We just heard from Super Paul. Yep. Senator Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Richard Ragoobarsingh. Wendell will join us in short. Of course, we got Ruben and Shane in the background. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. Quickly, 27 degrees on both islands. It's a warm one this morning. Of course, traffic-wise, just a bit by Chase Village towards Sugargona, Santa Rosa, Trin City to Macoya, going through by the interchange and heavier, getting into the capital. Nothing else to tell you about, just some volume, some congestion, and that's about it. All right. Good morning to you, Super Paul. What's happening?
Good morning, Steve. Good Wednesday morning to everyone.
Boy. Good morning to you. Did you have a late night at that building on Abercrombie Street?
I was home by 3:30, which is wonderful.
What the heck? Well, that is early.
Thank God.
Yeah, at least it didn't go to 9 p.m.
Or 2 in the morning.
Or 2 in the morning. Oh, that's good. That's you send us hellos first thing this morning on Facebook and YouTube. Wendy and James, good morning. Oliver Man, Warren, DJ Ray out in Tampa. Morning to you. Ray out in West Palm Beach, Florida. God Silly out in Valencia. Brenda Isaac, Wayne B. He's not in Georgia. Sure, he's got Georgia on his mind. But he's in Trin City. Marcia Rock in Orlando, good morning. Maria Celia, D.P., Boy Daisy, CJ, who's back in New York. Hope you had a nice trip here in TNT. It was so amazing to greet you on Friday. Thank you so much for passing by the Pet Butler. Slick Money Grip, Carol Guevara, Carol Joseph, Nikisha Pierre, Vaughn Drayton, Mo Gaines, John Cato, Rena Boodoo Jennings, Gloria Gray, Paula Richards, Richard Duku, Anyhow Miguel, Michael Robinson out in Yokohama, Japan. Good morning to you. And of course, out in Rio Claro, send me a WhatsApp. Dre, good morning to you. Hope all is well. All right. Jacinta Nichols, good morning to you as well. Right, so that's what you two can send us a message via Facebook and YouTube, and of course on WhatsApp. Dan Raj just snuck in at 318-1021. All right, Adrian Cotto, good morning to you. Yes, Pablo.
Good morning, everyone. Once again,
I'm shocked Wendell is not on as yet.
I'm sure he's joined now, actually.
There he is. The man who has a face for radio, Wendell Stephen.
What are you talking about, man? Good morning,
and
Steve.
Look who joined too.
What? No way. Today's Wednesday. Today's Lotto Day.
Good morning, Ragoobarsingh. Good morning, Wendell Stephen.
Morning,
good morning, guys.
Morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah, Dito. Good morning to everyone, and good morning to our listeners wherever you are. And of course, as Steve said, it's 27 degrees Celsius this morning. So it's a nice morning. And for those of you in the United States who can't convert, that's approximately 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
80.6.
Show off in your nice car now.
Yeah, show off in your nice car.
Show off in your nice car now. They can't tell you what the show off in your nice car now. Good morning, nice car. I say, good morning. How are you? Don't disturb my driver. Oh, sorry, your craft. It's not a car. You drive car. Your craft could do different things.
Craft, yeah. That's it.
Go underwater. I forgot. My bad.
Don't you forget it.
I forgot that your car. It just looks like a car, but it's not really a car.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, guys. How are you, Wendell?
My body is saying no, but my mind is saying yes.
But it's not normal for you.
No,
that's normal.
No, normally all of me says
that the story of your life.
No, I'm a yes
No,
man.
Your body.
I'm
no,
always
usually
a
it's
yes
the
man.
reverse. His body says yes, but his mind says no.
But my body just shut down yesterday, and it's still a little feverish today. But I'll survive because I have to work run box
That's
today.
just cabin fever. You just went on pressurized cabins always do that to you.
Oh Lord!
Especially that long flight. We
me
well
of-
bad talking yesterday, Wendell.
Don't remind me of those long trips. But yeah,
I
that's
said,
what's happening there.
yeah, we well, a good friend of yours and myself had a good conversation. We real bad talking.
Is that me?
But they're not accustomed to bad.
Yes, it's you. Nobody bad talks me.
Yeah,
Angus
cool with
Eve.
that.
Had a long discussion with Angus Eve.
Oh,
We're trying to get that
that's
Haddad
family too,
gentleman
man.
to talk
Like,
on the show, but he declined. I don't know. Everybody
Yeah.
breaks in from interviews so these days. Oh gosh.
Yeah, well, okay. Gentlemen,
Everybody
I
breaks
called.
the amount of names I sent for Steve.
You would not, and that's the names you sent for me, much less the ones that I decided to get, and everybody backed out.
We're afraid all you.
so how come nobody don't break from me?
Well, there's one
How
for
come nobody
collective.
don't break from me?
To protect and save the breaks from you.
None, nobody.
To protect and save the breaks from you.
I've never asked her for an interview. Actually.
Who you talking? Why you saying I just say protect and save?
I know who you go. I know who you mean.
Does anyone protect and save you know?
You want me to ask her for you?
If her boss gives her permission, why not? I have no problem with that. She's quite very articulate and very easy on the eyes.
Yeah, I'll ask her. Well, was it Stick Money Grip yesterday? Say I should. Anyway, let me hush.
I agree with that sentiment.
No. Beauty. That's it. That's what you feel it is. Somebody have good looks.
I'm not saying they have good looks alone.
I'm
sure they
good
have
looking. I'm good looking.
amazing qualities.
I'm good looking.
Mm-hmm. And look, we put up with you.
Exactly. Well, she put up with it for a long time, and I put up with it for a long time.
Steve, what is one is an open door, you know?
That is it.
Yeah, let me say happy birthday. Let me say happy birthday to Nicole Saunders, Diane Portel, Stephanie Brown, Natalie Perez. I know she listens to us for sure. Edison Fields and Gloria Reyes, all celebrating birthdays today. Yesterday was Shireen Ali Alexander, and former councillor for Arima, Brennan Patterson. He's also celebrated his birthday yesterday, along with attorney at law Annabelle Davis. I think she used to be at Power 102 at one time, not so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clint Batiste, councillor in the city of Port of Spain, he also celebrated his birthday yesterday. So belated birthday greetings to them all.
Happy birthday, Annabelle. And I also wanted to say a happy birthday to Chris Rodriguez. Well, he's out in England. He's involved in theatre in England. It was his birthday yesterday, too.
All right.
I'm more comforted this morning following news that PAHO, the Pan American Health Organization, is going to be doing an investigation into the deaths of the 7 babies. And they're awaiting some documents from the Ministry of Health before putting their team together. And also the families, or one of the families at least, who requested records and documents from the Ministry of Health should get their documents today, as was revealed by Health Minister Terence Dayalsing in the Senate yesterday. But the sad thing is that it seems that an 8th baby may be added to the list, potentially, as the parents of a neonate who was born in Sangre Grande but developed an infection and was transferred to the Port of Spain General Hospital by his parents. The child name is Jaden Pierre, and they said the child went in. According to doctors who were attending to the child, he was okay, but they were being precautionary in terms of sending him to the NICU unit. And then the parents were told he had a bacterial infection in his blood and was being treated with antibiotics while lab testing was pending. They were advised that he needed a blood transfusion, which was given on March 15th, And they told his condition was improving, and then his condition started to deteriorate according to what they were told. They said the child started to appear swollen and bruised with discoloration on his hands, feet, face, and forehead. And then he unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
And they didn't think anything of it until they heard these 7 cases come up. It seemed that he was...
He passed away prior then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's really a sad situation. Something really strange happened in the Senate yesterday. But it could be more than that. It could be my mind just running conspiracy theories.
You and that senator?
There was an announcement that Minister Ragoobarsingh was replaced in 2 committees in the House.
An announcement by whom?
The President of the Senate. That's who makes those announcements.
Okay.
It was an advisory from the Honorable Richard Anisette George. Usually, if something happens in the House, it's announced in the Senate and vice versa.
Okay.
It may be nothing, but you know.
So is that unusual that a minister be replaced in a committee?
From 2 committees.
Is that unusual?
Well, people are replaced from time to time.
Did it strike you as unusual, Paul?
It was curious. It was curious.
Would you consider it linked? Do you think it was linked to the latest issue with the minister?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You realize you're being interviewed now, right?
Well, that's going to be the natural assumption, because you started the conversation by saying you don't know if it's just your conspiracy theory element to your personality, but you thought something strange happened in the Senate yesterday.
Well, but it was odd. It was odd.
And the natural inference from people is going to connect it to the 7 babies.
Well, I'm saying I'm saying unequivocally that I don't know that it is connected.
You see, as a senior journalist, you started off first by referring to this possible 8 death linked, and you in that there,
and then you segued into something curious happened in the Senate.
Because
so us making the link is only logical.
I am saying unequivocally that I do not know.
The thousands of people who are now looking at us on YouTube. Hold a bit. The thousands of people who now look at it on YouTube, Facebook, and now on M&E TV channel 111 and Flow channel, the thousands of people would naturally have drawn that conclusion, Senator.
And I am saying unequivocally, I do not know that the events are linked. I just found it curious that it was announced that he was being replaced on 2 committees in the House of Representatives.
So you did your usual open eyes and look left, look right.
There were several eyebrows raised, not only mine. Several people looked across at me, I looked across at them.
But you sitting in a Senate with people like Annie Roberts, David Nackett, and Wade Mark, and they ain't saying nothing?
Yet. But it wasn't those kinds of announcements don't require responses. It's just an announcement of a status update in either house.
Okay.
There was also
Minister Ragoobarsingh listens to this show. At least, even if he doesn't listen, he has ears on this show.
Well, I am not telling any lies on the good minister. And as I unequivocally said, I do not think they're linked. I just found it was curious. Maybe he asked to be replaced. I don't know, Mr. Ragoobarsingh. Maybe he did. Maybe
could have been.
All will be.
Which is what we told him. He told us when we asked him if he's offering himself for St. Joseph a week and a half ago.
All will be revealed in the fullness of time. Water you had to drink, not coffee.
I drink coffee and mind my business too. There was a salvo. A salvo thrown across the floor by the goodly Minister of National Security. He was answering a question, one of the questions for oral answer, or maybe it was for an urgent question. I can't remember which of the two it was, and decided to throw in a little quip about the use of firearms in the country, and mentioned that someone said, "Lock it and cock it and empty." You know the saying.
You've heard it.
He said it seems like one. Should I call the name Roy? I should just get the clip and play it at some point. He said a name starting with Z seemed to have followed the instructions.
Z. Oh. Okay.
I'm totally clueless. You'll have to play the clip.
Yeah, I have to play the clip.
I should have done due diligence and found the clip this morning, you know.
But I'm still waiting on Dinesh Rambali clip, eh? Because that making that
Dinesh Rambali should be on the show tomorrow, according to Steve.
Yeah. I just have to confirm with him today.
You are free to join us, Wendell.
I will join you all, for sure.
I just have to confirm with him today, which I'll do around mid-morning, and so I can get confirmation early. Yeah.
I asked a question yesterday. Well, it was on the paper, which was filed some weeks ago, of the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government about when the full proclamation of the local government reform bill will take place. And you know what his answer was?
In the fullness of time.
Sometime in the next 12 months.
Yeah, please give me a break.
Sometime in the next 12 months. This is the April 17th. The bill was passed, I think, in 2022.
Wow.
Thereabouts. Let me get the correct information for you, gentlemen. Goodly gentlemen. Wow. The article is by Clint Hanchak, the Newsday. Right? It was. Where's the information? Right. It was passed in 2022. The bill was in 2022. I remember us interviewing the Honorable Prime Minister last year in the lead up to local government election, and he said by January or early 2024. Now things happen. I have no problem with that. You understand? But there was this rush to get this bill passed because the whole PNM local government campaign was hinged around local government reform. Not so?
The last three, Paul.
Right, local government reform. So I asked the question because we've had local government elections. We have a lot of new councillors in place. We have a new borough in Diego Martin, am I correct?
Yes, and in Siparia.
We have new people signed in. It's a whole new regime. Property tax is linked, for residential, is linked to local government reform. So I asked the question, because I would imagine by now we'd be well on our way to fully proclaiming and implementing the much touted elements of local government reform and applying it. So I was very surprised to hear in the next 12 months. Now, in the next 12 months could mean in 3 months or in 4 months or 6 months or 9 months. But the fact that vast window, which can take us to April next year, was given as a response, it's like...
Well, the shadow minister of local government in the opposition is Miss Khadija Amin. We could get her today. I'm sure she'll speak about it.
I doubt very much she'll make it available right now.
No, I called her a few times yesterday. Had a nice relationship with voicemail.
So I also reached out to Miss Amin, and she will speak with us. So,
today?
Yes.
Well, Steve, please call after 7 and let's do an interview.
Yes, after 7, call her.
I'll call her to prep it.
So,
because I know she will have a lot to say on that local government issues.
And also I asked about if there were any challenges that may have been articulated to the Minister from Regional Corporations in terms of getting themselves ready for the new elements of the law, which is supposed to be quite transformative. He said that nothing out of the ordinary, quite a nebulous answer. I also asked him if more stringent financial oversight mechanisms were going to be put in place, given that by my understanding, I didn't understand the answer fully, quite frankly, that the regional corporations were going to collect the monies themselves. Isn't that what we were told?
Yes.
He said it goes through the Ministry of Finance. Yes, now, but eventually they'll be collecting themselves. So one would imagine, given the horrible track record, many, if not most, of those regional bodies have with presenting audited financials, sometimes 8 and 10 years behind time. You understand? That one of the things that they make sure were in place was the ability for financial oversight to make sure that funds collected from burgesses for property tax were not misused. Is that an out of the way thought process by any means?
No.
You know what's sad about this? We have done in this country time and time again changes in regime. Property tax is a classic example. Not property tax, procurement. And you see, the implementation of these new legal regimes are always difficult. Because one, they are new to people, and two, there is resistance in the state sector to change. Right? And there are some people who are going to say, I'm not doing none.
Yeah. Look now, right now it's hell. Right now it's hell for those councillors and them to do a simple thing in the area, you know. Because one, the supplier had to be registered with the procurement thing. They have to get these three. It's hell for them to get a simple thing done right now, you know.
And all of these issues, Wendell, because I was in the Joint Select Committee, were brought up as important in understanding if and when the law was passed, you have to also factor in challenges and difficulties in transferring to this new regime and implementation from many different factors. It was discussed. So are we going to go bumbling through this again?
Yes, we are. We have not
we don't learn, huh? Like we don't learn.
The two things we've not gotten right is that procurement legislation and this local government reform. And I do have no hope. I have no hope that my grandchildren will see that local government reform. I had
the simple answer to that procurement legislation was that anything $1 million and less should operate on what operated before. The 3-code system, people don't have to be registered or partially registered, because under the new regulations, you could be registered but not qualified under the OPR registry. But it becomes this whole nebulous thing, and obviously rules. They're trying to put some level of rules for $1 million and less, and then they have micro procurement, meaning anything under $70,000, being less regulations attached to it. But the simple answer to all of that would have been anything $1 million and less, even if you could utilize people who even not registered on the OPR itself, because that's proving difficult for a lot of small traders and stuff who are not on the OPR registry, and some of them who have no interest in being on the OPR registry.
Yes. That is true. It's affecting mainly the local government people who have very little to spend. And imagine you want to do something in an area that will probably cost you $20,000-$30,000. And you have to find 3 people who registered with OPR.
I'll give you an example of why it is not impossible to do. I have friends and colleagues in a lot of state entities who started to get themselves together even while the bill was being debated.
All right.
Because they knew it was coming. It was unavoidable. So you have to sit down as an executive and as an entity and say, how are we getting ourselves ready for this? Several of them consulted with the then head of the OPR. What's his name?
Lacan? No, I think it was Lacan.
It's not Lakan.
Or Lalchan. Something so.
Lalchan.
Yeah,
Lalchan.
was it? Yeah.
Who brought his team and explained to them what is coming and how you can get yourselves ready. These systems you have to put in place, right? I don't think that has been done. It may have been done, but not at the level it should have been done with the regional bodies and several other state entities. The law was
Now, the OPR did, under Mr. Lalchan, did have a lot of sessions with different state entities. There were a lot of sessions. But those issue, the issue of them having to go back to amend the issue of $1 million and less became an issue.
Which they
because
they did, Richard.
Yeah, which they did, but they still attached a certain amount of bureaucracy to the process, $1 million and less, so that even if you have to, let's say you have a meeting and you're buying lunch.
You had to actually lunch suppliers and
people have to now look and say, well, okay, it's not that you could just run down the road and say, okay, give me 5 lunches. People have to now look and see, well, are we following the procurement regulations with regard to the issue? So it becomes cumbersome and it becomes a little unwieldy for people.
Ridiculous, Richard. You're using nice words. It's ridiculous. It's unworkable.
And gentlemen, this will happen at the start of any new regime. My issue is that there's a lot of resistance to the change. Because change is inevitable. There's a lot of resistance to the change. And I don't know that there are companies that actually specialize in applying transformative change when new regimes come in. And I don't know that we are forward thinking enough to understand it is just not going to happen because we say it had to happen.
Well, I think a lot of state entities are quite on board, Paul, with the process from $1 million and more.
No.
But I think you see the hiccups in the system is the under $1 million, and not even under. And when I say under $1 million, the hiccups in the system are really for procurement of things probably under $100,000.
Yes, I think I think that the biggest problem is right there, Richard.
Yeah.
And have you all seen the vendor sheet you have to fill out
for the procurement?
If you're a supplier.
Well, I've had my people deal with other people and things.
Right. So as you all well know, I actually worked for TTT for the last 2 carnivals since procurement regulations came in, right? So to work for TTT, and I'll explain after what I do, because I want to avoid confusion. So this year they sent the vendor form, which is extensive. I have no problem with that. You understand? So I guess all state entities like TTT if you want to supply services, you have to fill out this form because you're part of the procurement regime. You understand? And I do know that every person who is supplying services to TTT or any other state agency or entity or ministry is going to go through that.
That's why I say that issue, that figure Richard called just now.
But keep in mind, it's also aimed at weeding out corruption, nepotism, and all of that.
Well, I know that was the main purpose behind it. But are you actually encouraging a lot of these little people now, putting people in parentheses, to start up these little companies to help now with procurement issues? You know what I mean?
Which is fine. Which is fine. Anyway, I just hope that because I didn't get a sense respectfully from the minister's answer yesterday that we anywhere close.
Who's that minister?
Minister Faris Al-Rawi.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get a sense from the answers that we were really assiduously on the way to implementing these proposed changes. I didn't get that sense at all, but any sense of urgency.
Yeah. Morning, Mr. Park.
And then you're going to have the element, and this is a fact, and people could jump down with it if they want. the UNC has been steadfastly against the changes, many of the changes proposed in local government reform. Not so?
Yes.
And you have UNC-controlled corporations.
Yes.
So what do you think is going to happen in some instances? Do you think the resistance is going to just stop? It's
exactly.
And that's why you need to have a system of implementation looking at how you make sure that the regional bodies adhere to what is coming. And having nebulous timelines, like 12 months on, does not help. It just does not help.
Yeah.
It means that they're really serious and we could continue chipping along as normal. You understand?
Yeah.
So we're rolling into a general election when the application and full proclamation of reform from local government ain't even complete yet.
Yeah. Well, all that we could speak to Khadija Amin about. Because I want to ask her if this is some trick by the UNC also to trick Dr. Rowley into calling an early election, where all these MPs pretending they're against Mrs.
Why are you using the word trick?
No, well, I'm just saying.
You're imputing improper motives. The word trick is very. Remember, you can find another way to phrase that number. Remember?
The fool Dr. Rowley into thinking they divided.
That's more parliament.
They divided. You understand? So he can foolishly call an early election. He better don't fall for that. I don't trust that UNC.
And you talk about my conspiracy mind? And you talk about my conspiracy mind?
No, let me tell you something. UNC ain't losing one single vote with all that bacchanal that's going on inside of the party. Not one person going to say, I'm here voting for this party. Too much bacchanal, too much division. None. Nobody ain't going to say that. They ain't saying that at all. Everybody gonna stain their finger. They could replace Anita, Rushton, Dinesh. Who's the other? Well, Rodney doesn't replace himself. Smart fella. Easy, smart is out of the bunch.
Sure he replaced himself?
Smart fella. Yeah, he said he's not interested. He said he's not interested. And who's the other person? Oh, I'm missing somebody. Ragoobarsingh. I don't know that guy at all. He's Manzanilla. That is Gala and MP. So whoever replaces them, only one of those seats, as far as I'm aware, might be attainable for the PNL. Maybe Mayaro. You understand? But them other seats is safe. UNC seat Chaguanas West is the safest of them all. Tabakit probably just as safe. We have Naparima, all three of them equally as safe. And Chaguanas, what is the other one? What is the next seat? Tabakit, Chaguanas West, Mayaro, Anita Haynes is Tabakit, Dinesh Rambali, Chaguanas West, Naparima is Rodney Charles, Ragoobarsingh is Komuto Manzanilla, and there's a fifth one. Who's the fifth one? Give him trouble. I just called the name. I gone out my mind. Remind me now, Paul.
Rodney.
No, Rodney is Mayaro. Rodney is Naparima.
Rodney, Rushton, Anita, Dinesh.
And Ragoobarsingh. Right, that's five. That's the five, right?
I think those are the ones that are being described as dissidents.
Yeah. Yeah, as dissidents. But did you hear the statement made by Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar that they were deliberately withholding information from certain MPs who they felt voted against their presidential choice? You saw that statement? Isn't that crazy?
Do you intend for your camera to be on, Richard?
Well, I just reconnected. I don't know why I got bumped off and it reconnected automatically. I don't know what went on there.
All right.
Your car was making a whole set of noise.
I didn't want you to be on when you didn't want to be on and doing things that you didn't want people to see.
No, he handed over the car to the driver, so he's now in a passenger.
Okay.
So he could put on the camera now.
Well, he has a driver?
Of course he has.
I thought the high-tech car was the driver in and of itself. I thought you said the car drive.
Of course he has a driver.
I wish I had a driver. Should I
A gentleman have to respond to secrecy.
should I do the newspapers? Is it that time?
Just
See,
to
you can't
make sure
possibly be driving and wanting to do that.
we
So
only
go
have
ahead,
5
do the
minutes before we get
newspapers.
to that, but yeah, you can, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, darling, no, why before we get to that? Okay, no, fine. I just trying to manage the time, but okay.
You know, so I was very disappointed by the responses, to be very honest. I didn't get any sense of urgency, and I think we should have been a lot further along, given the amount of hype there was about this local government reform, and it done take 30 years already, and you understand? And I just get, okay, well, whenever it happened, it happened. That's the impression I got, sadly.
Look at Finbar Collins' comment there. Imagine all the decent MPs the UNC has are the ones who were on rocky ground. Well, as I say, I don't know Rai Ragbir, but Dinesh Rambali has certainly stood up against certain issues. Russian Pari, we know is a decent gentleman. Anita Haynes, you can't get better than her. Well, I can't say the same for Rodney Charles. I just remember him with his big stupid wheels spinning it in the road and insulting Dr. Rowley in ways that was so despicable. And who am I missing? What is wrong with me this morning?
This morning, you're specifying one morning.
Yeah, this morning.
I can't. The focus on the 5 UNC dissidents is just throwing me off a bit because I know it ain't gonna matter.
Brain fog?
I know it ain't gonna matter. Not one will matter. Let's say what. But they did that to decent MPs in the past.
I don't know if, but you guys will have to let me know. I got a recording purported to be a conversation between the mother of the
Hello,
who was killed.
We hearing you, Richard.
And watch yourself in you. Put on your camera when you're talking. You're doing your own, Mr. Man. All right. We had enough drama this last weekend going here. You know? We don't want you to go viral now. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get in trouble in no car.
Next thing yesterday. Oh God, no. Stop. Yes, I got a video with a TikTok with audio seemingly or purported to be a conversation between the mother of the 4-year-old who was killed and the alleged perpetrator. And if it is indeed true, it is the most disturbing conversation you could hear. You could hear somebody who seemed to be, I'm talking about the gentleman, but the man who didn't seem to be in full control of his faculties.
But that was reported, you know. Remember,
I know.
She said in the week leading up to that incident, he was talking all kind of incoherent nonsense and all kind
I don't know if you all think I should play it at some point.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well, I'll download it and air it at some point.
Yeah.
Because it is... He was very, very incoherent. And to her credit, she was very, very sober-minded, trying to lead him along a path of rational thinking with some issues, you know? He seemed to have been accusing her of seeing somebody else, and they spoke about the child and why the child seemed to emulate him because the child seemed to look at him as a father figure in the household. You know, but I guess we could play it, you know?
Yeah.
I got a number for her.
It's all part of this crazy thing called life.
I got a contact number for her, which I will call later today to try to secure an interview with her. You know, either on the air or go to her and record an interview. Because my understanding is that she doesn't necessarily want to go on media right now because she's very upset with the way she's being portrayed.
Yeah.
You understand? So it will take some convincing to get her to do an interview. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, Richard, it's time.
it certainly is. It's time for theater this weekend at Cipriani College. Love is a Walk is on at Cipriani College after spectacular houses at Queen's Hall over the last weekend. We now move on to Cipriani College this weekend, and of course, the box office at Cipriani College opens today from 12 noon to 6 p.m. So get your tickets early. And of course, all the usual outlets have tickets. You can check RSR Productions Theater on social media for more information. On to the dailies this morning.
Was that the Guardian headline, Richard?
I'm now going into the Guardian's headline.
Oh.
So the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today, and of course today is April 17th, 2024, just in case you are a time traveler. Baby death toll rises. That's the main headline on the Guardian this morning. Lawyers find 8 POSGH victim. Parents lost newborn at NICU in early March, and PAHO to send experts for independent probe. Headless body found in San Juan, and stepped up security at Barrackport East Secondary. And that's pursuant to those threats that they received, that somebody sent that they're going to shoot up the school and whatever else that they would have said. On the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, Narayan's 109, not enough. So that's it for the front and the back of the Guardian. Moving on to the Newsday for this morning. The Newsday, 3 weeks before 7 NICU deaths, bacteria claimed another baby. That's the headline in the Newsday this morning. Garbage Square, that's the picture. People walk past a mound of smelly, fly-infested garbage bags at the northern entrance of Woodford Square in Port of Spain on Tuesday. So that's the main picture on the front page of the Newsday, and a pile of garbage that people and pedestrians are passing by Woodford Square. And on the back page of the Newsday today, KKR star slams IPL ton. Paul Eyes World Cup boost whispers for Narayan's return is the headline. And TTCB acts Ramkisoon for public disclosures. Daily Express for today, front page. Legal action for baby number 8. Freedom Law files new pre-action over another baby's death at Port of Spain General Hospital. The main picture is that of Education Minister Dr. Nan Gatsby Dolly as she cuts the ribbon to open the newly constructed Curep Presbyterian Primary School auditorium at Linden and Joyous Streets in Curep. So that's the main picture on the front page of the Daily Express. So all 3 dailies went for that issue of the babies at Port of Spain General Hospital. And on the back page, Sunil stars Bell's maiden T20 century as KKR edged in thriller. Red Force looking to sign off on a high note. And that's it for our 3 dailies this morning in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Before you think, Steve, allow me just to say condolences to the Tiwari family on the passing of Justice Amrika Tiwari Reddy. I knew her well, her brother and I, Ashram, we worked together. I didn't realize she passed until I'm seeing today's newspaper. So condolences to the Tiwari family. They lived right there in Sawa by the Kweze, on the passing of Justice Amrika Tiwari Reddy.
Okay. All right. So our results of our morning poll that we asked you yesterday. Do you think the division in the UNC is serious enough to cause a change in the leadership of the party? That was our poll yesterday. Results are in. 57%, 57 said no.
I thought so. I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah, said no. All right. Good morning to Val. Good morning, Sankofa.
Wendell, you're going to be recording the votes?
Yeah, yes, I'll record for you, sir.
Okay, because I'm doing a bit of transference.
That's
all
okay.
Right. All right. So let's get into this morning's poll. 10 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock. News at the top of the hour. Traffic-wise, usual stuff. The no accidents to tell you about.
So we are getting Khadija Amin after 7, okay?
Yeah.
Right. Just to let our listeners and viewers know, Khadija Amin will be our guest after 7.
Yeah. All right. Well, Paul types with strict instructions there.
Yeah, I gave us certain assurances.
Strict conditions, yes.
But we are not
All
to
right.
talk about that situation.
Well, she will say what she has to say about it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that.
A lot of misinformation apparently is going out there. So
Apparently, yeah.
Right.
I told her let's set the record straight.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So our morning poll for today, Wednesday, 17th day of April.
you see, sometimes CBs want to say something a little different too, even though the poll is eminent. You see how we allowed you?
Poll time. Poll time.
You see how we allowed you?
Poll.
You see how we graciously allowed you? We in Buffalo.
I really want to let the listeners know that Paul he goes, he gets his hot shop roti, comes back to the office and munch it down, and he knows
you can say that again in the poll time. You see,
he knows that I want a PPP, a potato with plenty pepper, and he would not bring it.
The suggested poll this morning surrounds the
finally he's ready for
deaths of the 7, possibly 8 babies at the intensive care NICU unit, right?
Yeah. Right.
And the Minister of Health has indicated that he believes the parents have the right to seek legal redress.
Mm-hmm.
He may have done the same thing, and the Attorney General is preparing his team. If that happens, they've been saved up pre-action protocol. Pre-action means action is imminent if X and Y doesn't happen, right? So my suggested question this morning is, do you think the state should settle with the families of the 8 babies? I should say 7, because the 8 hasn't been confirmed, once the investigation is complete?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would have heard you all discuss that yesterday. And
right?
I think it's Richard who brought it up. That maybe
because at the end of the day, 7 babies is unprecedented.
Yeah.
Even without accepting liability or saying it's negligent,
there
is a lot of concern about this. So that's the question this morning.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
All right. So the poll is up on the screen that you can vote on right now. Got a couple of votes already. Do you think the state should settle with the families of the 7 babies once the investigation is completed? All right. 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099, on Facebook, on YouTube, on WhatsApp at 318-1021. And of course, you can tell your folks that we are on Me TV on your cable channel, Flow channel 111, Digicel channel 20. All right, got some votes coming in already. Alistair Hart, yes. Evans David, yes. Laureen Graham Corby, okay. Adrian Cotto, yes. Joe Sam, yes. Slick Money Grip, yes. On WhatsApp, Trev in Arima, yes. Dre out in Rio Claro, yes. Cascade St. Anne's, yes. Dan Raj, yes.
Alan Reese, yes. Eco Room Inspire, yes. Wayne B, yes. Carl Guevara, yes. Pearl Cordis, yes. Michael Robinson, yes.
Roger Seawing says, hell yes. What says you, caller?
Good morning, Steve, and the whole team.
Good morning.
I said yes. Steve, yes to save money too. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Grandy. Good morning, San Grandy.
Good morning, everybody. I am saying yes.
All right, thank you.
Gregory Boyer says yes.
Yeah.
Julia Batiste, yes.
Black Pearl says yes. Good morning to you, Black Pearl.
Who's Black Pearl?
DL says yes. All right. Do you think the state should settle with the families of the 7 babies once the investigation is completed? Yes or no? All right. Ambrose Blah says yes. Lester Craigwell. Good morning to you, Lester. Yes. Facebook and YouTube, you can message WhatsApp at 318-1021, or you can touch our tunes at 222-8255, or North Americans, we have a toll-free number for you, 866-525-1099, like what this caller did. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Glenn from Queens. Hope everybody is well.
We're well, Glenn. Thank you.
Great. My answer is 100% yes.
All right, Glenn.
Morning, Glenn.
Thank you so much. Sexy
Finbar.
San Fernando says yes to the poll.
Finbar Collins said yes, Steve. You missed that one above Ambrose.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Andre, yes. Beauty culture, yes. Captain Ron, wherever in the world you are, yes, at least. CJ, back in New York, yes. All right. Keep those votes coming. Good morning to all those on Me TV, watching us on your television sets at home or at work. Flow, channel 111, Digicel, channel 20.
I went on to JetBlue's app last night to look for a ticket to New York for my birthday. And I saw a ticket to New York round trip for $290 US.
Yeah. And you ain't buy
No,
one.
you know when I went back 2 hours later to buy it, it was $470.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that, Paul.
All you have to do is the time of the day. It's just the time of the day.
It's the time of the day. It's like, you see, like overnight is the best time to book flights.
In the morning is the best time.
Yeah.
But Tuesday
So when you
is
wake
also
up
the
in the
best
morning,
day.
you can do that.
And Tuesday is the best day.
Tuesday is also the best day to get a deal on tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Tuesday.
people don't know that.
You do it
And 2, 3 in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best time to book a ticket. And if you're traveling during the week, better yet, Wednesday, Thursday. Josie Richardson says yes. Let's see. I have Jaron J. Joseph saying yes to the poll. Thank you, Jaron. Do you think the state should settle with the families of the 7 babies once the investigation is completed? Yes or no? All right, let us know.
Save us that lawyer money.
Yeah. It'll save a lot of stress too for the
And
family.
a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You've already gone through
stressed
enough.
out.
What is guess yes? Philip Celeste. What is guess yes?
Richard, do you want to go back on?
Royalty Forever, yes to the poll. Thank you, Royalty Forever. He's royal. Should have seen that.
Poll this morning. Do you think the state should
Oh, we're not hearing here, Richard.
I am. It's
Very low. No, he gets that sorted out. Let's see. Let me get
You have to put your mouth to the mic, Richard. I mean, closer to the laptop. You know what I mean?
No, but I don't understand why you're not hearing me clearly.
No, we are
You're
hearing
good
you
now.
clear.
You're good now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't hear what Wendell said initially.
Oh, he heard.
What's that?
Oh, he didn't.
No, I don't have an actual microphone. I'm using the microphone from the laptop.
Yeah. Well, it's because of the room you're in. You're echoing a little bit. Is that top floor room now? You should go to the bottom floor.
The penthouse. Double palm penthouse.
Making the sign of the cross.
So do you think the state should settle with the families of the 7 babies, well, now 8 apparently, once the investigation is completed? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255, North Americans, 866-525-1099. Special good morning to you, CJ. It was lovely meeting you.
Good morning to Lennox Tuesday.
Morning, Uncle Lennox.
We had a wonderful conversation with Lennox yesterday.
Oh, Uncle Lennox.
Morning, Chiefos.
And of course, you can send your votes via the messaging portals on the respective streaming platforms, wherever you're watching us on. And of course, if you're watching us on Me TV, channel 111 on Flow, and channel what is it on Digicel?
20 on Digicel.
On 20 on Digicel, you'll have to either WhatsApp us. It's probably better to WhatsApp us at 868-318-1021 with your vote. You can do it.
Wendell, I'm accepting all your recommendations. Just give me a week.
Sure, I appreciate that.
Showing Kerr says
I didn't argue with you.
Huh?
I didn't even argue with you.
As a matter of fact, I want to also add the poll to sponsor it. We could start off with Rumbox. Give me a nice deal now. Pool sponsored by. Have a sponsor.
So, gentlemen,
you have good at sponsoring pool, eh?
I get in both
that's why I choose the poll. I got money I spent on poll lately.
You mean your money you had to spend because of poll?
That too.
You got Sherwin Kerr saying yes, Cheryl Henry saying yes, Shanifa Ali morning, Eve out in Sedona says yes.
This one you have a PG-14 disclaimer.
A filter.
This show need a priest bless us every morning. Let's get into our major news. AV is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
PAHO awaits data from this country on the premature deaths of 7 babies before deciding on the makeup of its team to probe the incident. Meanwhile, the Senate is told by today parents of the 7 babies should be provided with medical notes and records requested from the hospital. Government optimistic of the country's energy prospects and future, and Israel calls for sanctions on Iran missile program after massive attack. Details in a moment. This is News 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Cynthia Bob. Good morning. The Pan American Health Organization is depending on information and data sent to the institution from Trinidad and Tobago relating to the premature deaths of 7 babies at the Port of Spain General Hospital before determining the composition of its team, which will probe the incident. This was confirmed by Minister of Health Terence Dialsing in the Senate during the question and answer period on Tuesday morning. Recently, Minister Dialsing said PAHO, the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute, and Office of the Chief Medical Officer will investigate the development.
But what PAHO has requested is the information that we have. Based on the information that we have, then they will determine the composition of the team to look into the specific areas of concern. So we don't have the composition as yet. It depends on the information and data we send to them, and then they will determine what areas of specialty or concern and appoint the appropriate persons.
Meanwhile, the Senate was told that by the end of today, the parents of the 7 babies who died in the NICU at the Port of Spain General Hospital should be provided with the medical notes and records requested from the hospital. Minister Dialsing provided the update as he responded to a question on the subject posed by opposition Senator Jayanti Lachmedial Ramdial.
Yes, to Senator Lachmedial and the wider public, I'm advised by the officials at Northwest RHA. Those files are currently, as we speak, being copied, and hopefully the parents will have their copies by the end of the day or by tomorrow for the latest. That is what my advice is. Whatever information needs to be disclosed on the advice of the attorneys will be disclosed.
Meanwhile, attorneys representing 7 families have signaled their intention to pursue a class action lawsuit over the deaths of their babies in the neonatal intensive care unit at the Port of Spain General Hospital have identified an 8th potential family to add to their case. In the latter, attorney Suan Diosaran provided details about Nandarani Nathu, whose son Jaden Pear died at the hospital on March 16th. A few weeks before the 7 babies died over a 4-day period. Diosaran and Nathu initially believed her baby's death was not questionable based on claims by doctors, but came forward after recent reports on the 7 latest cases. According to Diosaran, Pear was born prematurely via cesarean section at the Sangre Grande Hospital on February 22nd and then transferred to the Port of Spain General NICU. She claims doctors did not indicate any issue with the baby besides his premature birth until March 4th, when Nathu and the child's father, Alastair Pear, were reportedly told the child had a bacterial infection in his blood and was being treated with antibiotics while laboratory testing was pending. The couple was allegedly given positive updates regarding his condition before they were told the infection was still growing and a blood transfusion was needed on March 13th. Deosaran said the blood transfusion was performed on March 15th. She claimed although the parents were told their baby's condition was improving, the following day they were informed his condition was deteriorating. She claimed the parents were only allowed to see him but not hold him. Government admits while it cannot predict the future and there is risk involved, it is remaining confident. Discussions entered into with Democrats, Republicans, and public servants in America relating to energy matters will hold strong even if the current administration changes in the upcoming U.S. elections. The optimism comes from Minister of Energy and Energy Industry Stuart Young while he was being interviewed on the Power Breakfast show yesterday. He said during deliberations with the U.S. government, certain commitments were given relating to the license granted to the Trinidad and Tobago government on October 17, 2023, by the Office of Foreign Assets Control of the Department of Treasury of the United States with respect to the development of the Dragon gas field. The license granted to government expires on October 31, 2025, and amongst other things, permits the state to negotiate with the government of Venezuela and PDVSA to obtain exploration and production licenses to extract natural gas, to operate the Dragon field, and to make various payments associated with such a project, including taxes, royalties, fees, and lease bonus payments.
Why I said we are the only ones apart from Chevron to get a specific license. Chevron's license rotates from 3 months to 6 months. We have a 2-year that expires at the end of October 2025. US governors had very positive conversations with us about the renewal and the extension of that license. That's the first point. There's a general license 44 that is coming up for expiry or renewal on the 18th of April this year. Dragon is in no way associated with that.
The Education Ministry says it's working closely with the police service as a probe continues into the death threats made to teachers and students of the Barrackpore East Secondary School. Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Dr. Amory Brown, said the ministry is doing all that is required to ensure the safety and security of children and teachers at the school. Dr. Brown was responding on behalf of the Education Minister, who was not present at the time during the Senate sitting on Tuesday. He said in every instance of threat leveled against any school, the Education Ministry seeks the input of the TTPS and allows the service to carry out its investigations. Meanwhile, Education Minister Dr. Nian Gatsby-Dolly sought to assure parents that all was being done to treat with the issue in an interview with the media yesterday. She called for those who are responsible to desist from doing so, as this has an adverse effect on students, parents, and teachers. She also appealed to anyone who had information and those responsible for the threats to speak out. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Further afield, Israel called Tuesday for new sanctions against Iran as part of the response to the Iranian military and some of its allies launching an unprecedented aerial attack on the Jewish state. Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said on social media he reached out to more than 30 nations to push for sanctions against Iran's missile program and for declaring Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization. The United States is one of several countries that have already designated the IRGC as a terror group. More details in this BBC report.
Israel says it is now launching a diplomatic offensive. The Israeli foreign minister has written, he says, to 32 countries around the world, urging them to impose even more sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The foreign minister, Israel Katz, posted this on X, formerly Twitter, saying Israel that Iran has to be stopped now before it is too late.
Straight into weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, generally sunny, hazy and breezy despite the low chance of a brisk light to moderate shower. Hazy night with a light breeze and the odd shower mainly after midnight. Look out for a forecast, a maximum temperature of 33 degrees Celsius at the International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, the temperature at Piarco and Crown Point is 28 degrees Celsius. Recapping your headlines, 7 o'clock. PAHO awaits data from this country on the premature deaths of 7 babies before deciding on the makeup of the team to probe the incident. Meanwhile, the Senate is told that by today, parents of the 7 babies should be provided with the medical notes and records requested from the hospital. Government optimistic of the country's energy prospects and future, and Israel calls for sanctions on Iran missile program after massive attack. I'm Avril Sindhil-Bab. That was News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you, Avi, for our major news. You could join her again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Quickly, before we get the results of our morning poll, let's take a look at what's happening in traffic. Golaconda Connector Road from the highway to bypass. That is heavy. Well, it's congested, put it that way. Sapero Road from Golaconda Connector Road is also a bit heavy. Let's see. Corinth Road, yeah. From Sapero Road, also a bit heavy this morning. Taking a look at northbound on the Summer Joy Highway. Nothing really to tell you about. Rivulet Road headed to Couve is a bit heavy. Chaguanas Main Road, Montrose Main Road, if you don't call it that, is a bit heavy. And just before Monroe Road, you're going to get traffic in Uriah heading towards the interchange. Leaving Chaguanas, passing Chinchin Road to Ibis Gardens, you've got it. Kelly Village, Little St. Helena also. Valencia Stretch, leaving Grandy to the stretch of volume, going through Santa Rosa to Omera, and of course, Piarco to Yui, Curep to Port of Spain, Eastern Main Road heavy from Mokoya as you head towards St. Augustine, and lighter as you head from Uriah Butler towards Mova. All right, Marval de Martin, you're heavy lower Santa Cruz as well. All right, let's see if we have any more votes coming in here. I'm just checking, check. Let's see. I've got Central Animal Lover. Good morning to you. Okay, Central Animal Lover says, as someone that's lost 2 children because of negligence in our hospitals, my answer is a resounding yes. Yeah, I know about that.
2 children.
Anyhow,
Miguel also said
yes.
Yes. That came in after the news.
Yeah. Lewis, that's a long one. I'll get to that shortly. I'm just looking for the keyword of yes or no. I haven't seen any. All right. Beauty culture. Mrs. R. Okay. All right. So let's get the results of our morning poll.
Well, these are the easiest results I've ever had to announce in a long while. All respondents to the poll said yes. All 37 who responded said yes. Do you think the state should settle with the families of the 7 babies once the investigation is completed? All 37 said yes. All right? All 37. Right. Yes, Miss Celeste, I recorded your vote as a yes.
Yeah, we did. All right. Lewis had said, I have not listened for a while, but did I miss when the Minister of Health and the heads of the relevant departments under him were asked to resign over this most incompetent act? Protecting our children is the most basic and of responsibilities for all adults. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very, very tragic situation, but
it's sad. It's sad.
But no one can argue that something then go drastically wrong. And some part of the system clearly failed because it resulted in a cascade that certainly is tragic for every of the parents who are involved because they lost their children. I mean, there's nothing more precious than life and a child, you know.
Yeah, baby.
This is a news story that will go away for many of us in weeks to come. But for them, this is life.
This is life, you're right.
You know, this is life, and this is something that you have to deal with for decades to come.
Yeah.
And that is why it's so tragic. Last week, I'm surprised that the ministry wasn't more proactive in terms of communication. I mean, while you're running an investigation, there's not that your lawyers are going to allow you to say, your attorneys are going to allow you to say. But you can certainly say we have identified a significant development in the NICU unit. There are several children, babies who have passed, and we are running a full investigation. Our condolences to the families of the parents of these children and their families. We will relay more information as it's appropriate to do so and as it becomes available. And
there you go.
And don't.
That's it. Basic, straight to the point.
Let it break in the media, and then accusations of cover-up, accusations of lack of transparency. They have to request records through an attorney. You understand? The parents are not going to feel good about this.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, though. A lot happens in that hospital that sometimes the country, the world is not aware of it. Especially
every hospital in the world. Every hospital in the world.
Yeah, especially regarding preemies. That's babies premature.
Every hospital in the world. But the importance is to be transparent.
Yeah.
Don't let it break once it breaks in the media, and you have to come from behind and defend and say yes, and you already start off bad.
Yeah. It's like we don't know how to deal with this situation, and they use the default position of saying nothing. I always tell people, get it out of the way. Get it out of the way.
Good morning to you, MP Khadija Amin. How are you?
Good morning, Steve, and good morning, of course, your fellow host.
Good morning, Khadija. Good morning. How are you, my dear?
Radio.
Yes.
I take umbrage at not being mentioned like Steve, Khadija.
Wendell, good morning. Good morning, Wendell. Uncle Wendell.
Good morning, Khadija. Member of Parliament for St. Augustine. How are you?
Good.
All right. Good to hear.
All right. We understand these are statements you want to make.
Wendell and I were having a little discussion about the situation with our councillors, secretaries' salaries. So I thought I would share a bit with you guys this morning. Councillors were first given secretaries under the UNC People's Partnership Government, and councillors' salary is $3,000 a month. As you know, councillors have offices. Most of them open 8 to 4 Monday to Friday. And what has happened over time is that since 2010 or 2011, when that came into being, we had several increases in the minimum wage. And now councillors are getting below what is minimum wage. Councillors, secretaries, sorry. This has to be corrected. Councillors are paid out of the corporation fund, but I think it has to do with how the position was created. And I don't think it's much for the current government and the current Minister of Local Government to ensure that steps are taken so that councillors, secretaries get a salary on par with other persons who do similar jobs, to do similar duties. Because, for instance, a clerk in the corporation's office will get a clerical assistant type salary and so on. And that has to be rectified. We have situations where people are leaving the job, people are offering to work part-time because that salary really is not a full-time salary. And I believe Faris Alwari is aware of it. And I don't know what has prevented him or the government as a whole from correcting that situation.
Has that been raised at all in the Parliament, MP?
It has been mentioned on several occasions, and I actually filed a motion on the adjournment for the minister to bring some type of reply. But I found it was something that, for instance, you have the new local government reform that has been passed by the Parliament. You have provisions there for councillors' salaries and so on, and I find that could have been addressed there. But there are other provisions that can be made even within the existing laws. But I think it's totally unacceptable for councillors, secretaries to continue to work under such conditions, being very underpaid.
Good morning, Khadijah.
Good morning, Paul.
We miss you in the upper house.
Oh yes, I've been staying in tune with what you all are doing, and I thought you spoke an excellent speech about the commissions of inquiries and the cost to the country, and then what comes out of it. But I know that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, it continues next week. I asked a question of the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government yesterday, related to when the full proclamation of the local government reform bill will take place, and also if there were any challenges identified by the corporations in getting ready for that full proclamation and operationalization, and also the financial oversight. And the minister indicated in the next 12 months, which disappointed me. What's your response to that information?
Well, we have been hearing that there will be a schedule in terms of implementation, proclamation and implementation for the new legislation. The ministry has hired people called change agents, and they have been assigned to corporations. But in the meanwhile, what is happening is that the chief officers assigned to the corporations either their contracts are coming to an end or the corporation is not getting the funds to pay those persons. So we don't know if these change agents are supposed to replace the chief officers. The chief officers are in the act. So that is also presenting some confusion. And I think the minister has to be very clear in his way forward. You have new legislation. You have several corporations that require improvement in delivery of services, and they have been getting less and less funding. In many cases, they get funds just barely enough to pay their workers. But for instance, workers do not have tools. They don't have materials. So you have construction workers doing nothing because they have no material, but you have to pay them. You must pay them because they are permanent employees. I think there are several things within the Local Government Act that can be implemented in a short space of time once the proclamation is made. It is unfortunate that the only part of the legislation the government sought to proclaim was the part to extend the term of office from 3 years to 4 years. And, as things passed, we realized that was only an attempt to postpone the local government election. Thankfully, through legal action and so on, the elections went ahead. But for instance, there's a section of the act that speaks to the councillors' salaries being determined by the Minister of Finance as opposed to the Salary Review Commission. Now, I will tell you, I have reservations about any political creature determining the salary for anyone, including and especially another political creature. So you have a minister determining the salary for a councillor. But as it is, it has been passed in Parliament, and I felt that the minister could have used that opportunity to provide councillors with a suitable salary. Councillors get about $6,000 a month when you include their allowances and so on at this time. And you have thought so much in terms of the demand. In the recent Salary Review Commission report to the Parliament, I think there was a recommendation for an increase of about $1,500. I really don't think that's enough, and especially when you have that same report recommended $80,000 for the Prime Minister. So we have to look at that, and I think that is an area that could easily be proclaimed, seeing as you have already proclaimed the term of office being 4 years. The conditions of the employment and the engagement of councillors have to be looked at as a whole. So you have a proposal to have full-time councillors who are executive members of an executive council, but you must have a salary that is suitable to that. There are many councillors who are, for instance, have full-time jobs. They are teachers, they are in the public service, they are in the public health sector, for instance. You have those who have legal practice and other professional practices, and they will have to give that up if they accept a position as a member of the executive committee. Now, the executive committee is like cabinet. So you can be a member of parliament without being a member of cabinet. Similarly, I suppose you can be a member of council without being a member of the executive council. So at that time, a person can make their choice if they want to give up their job, give up their practice. But still, the salary for a counselor right now does not even allow a counselor to really even do their job properly sometimes. When you consider that part of the provisions for traveling officers within the public service for members of parliament and so on includes things like a vehicle allowance, vehicle tax breaks for purchase of vehicle when a vehicle is a key instrument in a council performing their job. So we really have to look at the terms and conditions of our councillors if we want to have representation. I mean, because being a councillor is a 24-hour job. And those are some areas that I feel that the government could use the legislation to begin to implement something positive immediately. They are also.
But then, Khadija, Richard here, Ragoobarsingh. Tell me something. You know, interestingly enough, we had this conversation when that SRC report came out. I remember Wendell and I discussing it on air, and I raised the issue that why would people want to give up their jobs if it's posited at that salary level that they're suggesting, even to become a counselor? But I mean, counselor, you may want to do it out of love and devotion for your community, etc. I get all of that. But that issue of compensation, as indicated by that SRC report, just did not seem, in our opinion, and Wendell could correct me if I'm wrong, that they considered that the legislation has been reformed and that some of these people are going to have to give up their jobs. And additionally, which is what you just talked about there, and additionally, I can't remember, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, whether the Minister of Finance, in bringing up the anomalies of the SRC report and saying that certain anomalies came up and it was going to be sent back to the SRC committee, I can't remember him mentioning local government officials as being part of that anomaly.
Well, the minister may not have wanted to mention it because I think then very quickly persons would have suggested that the power is in his hands to make a change and to remove councillors from the Salary Review Commission once that section of the local government legislation is proclaimed, because that is what is in the legislation. You are right. There are many councillors who do it. I mean, yes, you do it for the love of your community, but there's also a practical sense in it. It is not new that the Salary Review Commission has provided really unrealistic recommendations. Even when I was a councillor and when I was chairman of the Tunapuna Piapo Corporation, between 2010 and 2013, the executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Local Government Bodies also did a full assessment in terms like a manpower assessment in terms of what the job of a councillor is, and provided that to the SRC, and they did not budge. They did not provide a recommendation in keeping with what we know the job of a councillor is. So even in the local government debate in Parliament, the minister spoke about this. The minister spoke about the SRC not being realistic, and I am really stunned as to why the minister has that power in the legislation, and the government has not proclaimed that section of the legislation to correct what is clearly wrong.
Because I wanted to quick touch a bit on the internal wranglings within the UNC in terms of these 5 MPs who are now labeled as dissidents and so on. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, now let me tell you, you are in a political party. You have been in local government. You have been in your party for many years, and very often, what happens inside the party is sometimes more challenging than what happens outside. What I can tell you, the reality of every people's day-to-day life is that crime is skyrocketing. People are living in fear. Food prices are through the roof. People cannot afford food. We have so many hardships in terms of unemployment and so on, and people are concerned about that. I think it appears that it appears to me as a PNMB team's actions I have seen PNM elements working with some of these persons, but I am...
Dinesh Rambali, you're labeling a PNM B team member.
Well, I say PNM B team because I have seen PNM elements working with these persons. But I am certain that in terms of UNC's representation on the ground will not be compromised. I am certain that we will continue to be a voice for people and to provide representation while the internal issues are dealt with.
Well, I'm certain that the UNC will not lose a single vote because of their actions. But at the same time, this has happened before within the party, and it has brought about a change in government, if you remember, with Ramesh, Ralph, and Trevor. It brought about a change in government. So it's not to be dismissed.
Yes, but I mean, Ramesh Lawrence Maraj was a phenomenal figure. I don't see any of the current players as having that level of support. But as I say, I am sure their concerns can be dealt with internally if that is their intention. I also don't believe that their actions and what they are saying will compromise the UNC's level of service to the country.
But do you think this damages brand UNC in any way? All political parties go through turmoil. There was Mr. Manning and Dr. Rowley before. There was Dr. Williams and A.N.R. Robinson, the late, before. All political parties go through turmoil from time to time. It's an element of change. Do you think this is damaging brand UNC as the country heads to a national election next year?
And I think that is a very important question for those persons to consider. Of course, they will say no. Of course, they may not have a full appreciation of the effects of some of their negative words. But I can tell you, being a person on the ground, I can tell you that many people are very dismissive of them. It does not shake their belief in the UNC. In fact, what I've seen is that more people are rallying behind the political leader because of the actions and the utterances of those persons in terms of telling her to stay strong and so on. And I'm not talking about UNC members and what they like to label as UNC sycophants. I'm talking about people in marginal seats, people who are fed up of PNM and are making a difference, people who voted for the UNC in the last local government election that caused us to win seats we have never won before. You know, those people are saying that they don't even know who some of these people are, you know, and they don't care. What they care about is what they are facing every day when they have to put food on their table, when they have to go in the hospital and have no medication, when there are crimes going on in the country that the police can't solve, that you can't feel safe. That is what they are concerned about. They don't even know half of these people. They don't care.
You are a vice chair of the UNC, right? Correct?
Yes.
I just want some clarity, or we just want some clarity in this.
You mean a deputy leader?
A deputy leader, sorry. Mm-hmm. Is there, because I've heard...
Leader, currently deputy chairman, yes.
Yeah. Because I've heard so much information and different perspectives on this. Is there going to be an internal election for the United National Congress this year or before the general elections?
That is a decision for the national executive, and no decision has been taken. In fact, the election is not even due yet. And I think in due course, the national executive will take a decision. That is not something for an individual to take a decision on.
So there's no decision taken yet. Okay.
Is it constitutional?
No, so what happens is that the Constitution provides for the decisions of the national executive to be ratified by a Congress. You know, so those things happen regularly. I have been in the party for many years, and I can tell you that whenever we have situations with, for instance, internal elections, Congress, and parliamentary arm, and these type of things, it is only when Kamala Persad-Bissessar became leader that those things became regular occurrences. And I think that is good and important for the strength and the democracy within the party, because we do have a one-man, one-vote system. So I think that is a key thing to note, that we have had several internal elections. I ask those who have been involved in the politics before 2010 to recall internal elections before 2010, you know. But the truth is that I am committed to strengthening the UNC as a political party, as an institution, because I know that the UNC is a people-centered political party, and we continue to be the voice of people in government as well as even in opposition, because many, many issues in this country were only brought to light because of the opposition's vigilance.
Are you suggesting that under Basdeo Pandey, democracy wasn't practiced?
Well,
democracy within the party?
History will speak for itself, but persons who have been involved in the politics longer than me could testify in terms of their own experience, in terms of the number and the frequency of internal elections. But I can speak for the time that I have been involved in the party. And I've always participated in the internal mechanisms of the party, even when I was not an elected representative. And it is something that I think is important to our institution. And Kamla Prasad-Bissessa, as a leader, has continuously strengthened democracy in the party, not only in terms of what is in the constitution, but in terms of allowing people to have a say and to participate and so on. And I think that is commendable.
Khadija, if I could just, there was an incident on the weekend. I don't know how much you want to say. We're very happy that you are safe, given what we've seen in the public domain, because you're a friend to the show and we hold you in high regard. Is there anything you want to say on that situation on the weekend that you can share with the audience? Because there's a lot of information and misinformation and moving around back and going on. We just wanted to give you an opportunity to say anything you wanted to say on that situation.
Well, first of all, I want to just reassure you guys and the public that I am safe. I am aware that there are a lot of rumors circulating, a lot of contradicting stories, most of it untrue. But I have been advised that I am seeking legal advice, and I have been advised not to give a comment as yet, but certainly as time progresses, I'm sure there will come a point in time when I will. But it's just safe to say that this is not a situation that I intend to allow to rest. But certainly, I really appreciate the legal advice that I am receiving at this time. But I just want to also give my constituency assurance that I will continue to do my work. I will continue to be with you. Most of what you are hearing is not true, and there's no need to be worried, because of what is circulating. And I want to take this opportunity too to thank those many people who have reached out, just to say, hey, you're safe, you're good. And the answer is yes, I'm safe, I'm good. There's a lot of misinformation circulating, but I will address it in due course.
I think, Khadija and guys, one of the most disturbing things that came out of this story is the release of what appears to be police transcripts. And I hope that you followed through on that, because it's a feature now of incidents where you see this reports circulating about PC this, investigated that, used this vehicle. And it appears, I don't know, it appears to be coming from a police transcript.
Yeah, within.
Well, Wendell, as Member of Parliament for St. Augustine, I have been very outspoken about murders within the constituency. We had a series of murders in the train line area, for instance, and on many occasions, relatives of the murder victims and other persons within the community who felt it important to give information to the police regretted it, because they almost as soon as they leave the police station, information would be out there, and they themselves would be jeopardized. Because when police confidentiality is breached, sometimes people could lose their lives. And that has unfortunately become a feature of our police service, and it means that public trust and confidence is compromised in the police service. I have always been facilitating the police in my constituency. I have hosted several community police meetings, attended meetings when they have meetings. I have facilitated mediation in so-called hotspots, social outreach exercises of the police and so on. And I have seen that issue of police confidentiality affecting confidence in the police service in a general way. while I don't want to speak on in terms of what is circulating, if you have 3 different things that appear to be police reports circulating, contradicting each other, clearly some of it is not true. But you are right. The question is, how is that circulating in the first place? But as I say, I don't want to say more because I am getting legal advice on the matter. But suffice it to say that the fact that these things are regular occurrences in the TTPS is something that is really alarming. And in fact, there are people who have lost their lives because of inappropriate action by police officers.
Do you feel yourself under any threat? You said you're safe, and I'm really happy about that. But do you feel any threat over you, or anything, or are you just feeling safe as ever?
Well, I can tell you that because of the information circulating, for instance, including my vehicle number and so on, I have to take additional steps to make myself safe, which I give you the assurance I will be doing. But I also fear for persons who, for instance, might be witnesses in murder cases and other issues surrounding serious crime in the country, whose lives are put even more at risk because of, as I say, inappropriate police action. And I want to make it very clear that there are good officers in the police service, but the fact is that there are issues to be addressed. And to me, this is a continued failure of the Ministry of National Security, a minister who doesn't seem to have a handle on things. And it has to be corrected. It has to be addressed. This is not about me. This is about a nation at risk, you know. So I don't know as yet what exactly transpired to lead to all that information that has gone out, different twists that are circulating and so on. But I trust that the TTPS will be able to get to the bottom of it in the meanwhile.
Did you make a police report at all on Khadija?
As Wendell, as I indicated, I don't want to speak about I've been advised not to speak about the circumstances, so I will not do that at this time. You know, there will come a time when I will be allowed to share certain things, but at this time, suffice it to say that a lot of what is circulating is not true, and it is very concerning that such information that appears to be coming from police sources could be out there.
All right. And I'm assuming that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has been apprised of everything that has been transpired with you, because I know that you are one of her favorites.
It is not a matter of one of her favorites. I do respect her as a political leader. I sit on a parliament bench where she's the leader of opposition, and as a member of parliament, it is my duty to inform her of, you know, something that has transpired with me personally and something that is out in the public domain. So in that regard, certainly, it is not about being a favorite at all.
All right.
Thank you for being with us this morning. We appreciate you taking time to be with us.
Yes, thanks a lot, Khadija.
Yeah.
All
right, thanks, Khadija.
Thanks, Khadija.
All the best. All right. Glad you got her. Well done, Wendell.
Well, I as I say, Khadija is my friend, almost like family. So when it happened, I reached out to her, and yesterday I had a long conversation with her and convinced her, listen, if you have to say something, say it with us. Say it on this show. You understand?
But we respect the parameters within which she agrees to do the show.
Yeah.
She's been advised by her legal counsel not to say anything. She has to abide by that because one of the things that was very telling, she says she does not intend to let it rest.
Yeah.
I heard that loud and clear.
Yeah. It has to be disturbing watching those transcripts, you know.
I didn't see it. You know, interestingly enough, when you brought that up, Wendell, I didn't see those transcripts at all.
Yeah, I saw about 3 transcripts, supposedly an evolution of information, but she's right. They had contradictory information in them, and they seemed to be, I can verify, police transcript but it's easy for someone who wants to make mischief also to put PCX and PCY and type out something and add to something, maybe an initial report and add to it if they so desire.
Yes.
But I don't know, I can't vouch for the authenticity of them, but there were at least 3 that I saw that was circulating as a result of the incident.
Yes.
That was circulating after the incident, let me say, not as a result of.
With names,
I didn't see
It didn't come up in my stream or whatever, but you know, I'm not always on. Or maybe I'm on less than you on Paul.
I doubt that very much.
No, trust me, I got the amount of times I got those things is
yeah.
I've not shared it with anyone, but I the amount of times I got it. Oh.
Well, I mean, the most important thing is that she's
safe.
Yeah. Bottom line, she's safe. Yes, let's open up the phone lines. Those at home that watching us on Me TV, on Flow Channel 111 and Digicel Channel 20, you can call us 222-8255. Toll free North Americans 866-525-1099. These are numbers directly into our studio. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning to Dr. Paul again. Good
Buenos
morning,
días. ¿Cómo estás?
and Wendell.
morning.
Good morning to you all. So I'm watching you all on Channel 20 now.
Oh, you're on Digicel.
Yes, on Digicel. So which is good.
How my face looking there? Do I have to do makeup now
Normal.
for TV? Oh God.
I prefer the channel than YouTube. YouTube, you all are only bumping like those I can't remember what to say. What the word is?
We're buffering a lot on YouTube.
Yeah, it's more stable on
All
the
right.
channel.
Well, good to hear.
Use that word. Stable.
Yeah.
Concerning the death of the baby Paul, I spoke to Charles about it. This happened to me and 9 other babies in 2012. This same thing, but the only difference was that monk.
Well, that I got a WhatsApp message from Val saying that it happened to her and 8 other babies in 2002.
Yeah, in 2002. And I say, and a lot of people are asking, well, at that time I was employed, I was teaching, and those teachers asked me why I don't take action. But you won't get nothing out of that. I mean, people say if you don't do it, you won't try, but just one person. So I decided not to, and because I had another baby anyway, so that would have been too much stress on me. Postpartum depression might step in because it was very, very, very traumatic. And the worst part of it is that they never told us when we went there that this happened. What I saw was a flood of water in a room, and they told us you have to stay out until somebody comes to call us. Not knowing that these babies were already dead, right? Wow. And it's hours after we found out. So it never made news. As a matter of fact, it never made news because nobody commented on it. I wasn't on talking radio at that time.
Extremely traumatic for a mother.
Yeah,
I can't fathom that at all.
And the other parents who were there before me, before 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know those things happened because I've never had any conversation with them before, and they were really crying. But I didn't think anything, to tell you the truth. It's long after, hours after, we knew what happened. And that name, the bacteria, whatever you all called, that was the exact name they put on the death certificate. So, see, it's something that's it's things that happen, and people, as I say too, I didn't talk about it on radio. I wasn't talking on radio at that time, so it wasn't any public domain. So these things happen. So my son would have been 22 years old today if he were alive. But I was
today?
Something, yeah?
Wow.
No, at that time it was August month. But to be honest, my baby was 26 weeks. So
one of the things that has come up.
Very fragile.
One of the things that's come up as a result of this is people questioning the procedure and practice. Are you finished, Ms. Dabadi?
Yes, I'm finished. So you all have a good day.
Same to you.
All right, thank you.
The practice of people going to private healthcare institutions, it happens a lot because I hear about it all the time. And I really one incident of a guy in the barbershop who told us a story that was shocking to me years ago. And when the patient in the private healthcare institution starts to code or goes into crisis, they stabilize the patient and send them to the public healthcare system. Dr. Fuad Khan told us, one, is a matter of cost because the more intense the intervention, the more costly it is. And sometimes people go in for what they feel is a simple procedure, and they cater for it a certain cost. And if it goes south, the cost goes up, and they say, well, look, transfer to the hospital because I can't afford that. The other part of that, and I know this for a fact, is many of the private healthcare institutions do not want the mortality on their books. And so they stabilize you and they send you to the public healthcare system. There's a gentleman who I know who related a story in a barbershop years ago about his wife who went for surgery at a private healthcare institution in Port of Spain, and I'll be not more specific than that. And something went wrong. Like somebody cut something wrong, and she started to bleed out. And they stabilized her, stuffed a lot of gauze inside of her to stop timely bleeding. And they called him in and said, your wife is taking a turn for the worse. And so come in and just, because we don't think she's going to make it. And they were attempting to transfer her to Port of Spain General Hospital. And he kicked up a horrible fuss and said, if you do that, I'll rip this place apart. Because he knew if she went into that ambulance, she would die in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And he insisted she stay there, and they stabilized her there, and they fought and saved her life. But he knew if she went into that ambulance, she wouldn't make it to Port of Spain General.
She wouldn't make it.
But we have a famous lawsuit where a former minister won, not so? Because of the death of her husband at a private institution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, Paul. Richard, Steve Khan, Richard, Ragoobarsingh. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
Mr. Paul Richard, you now speak about what I was going to talk about. Because I was in a conversation with a certain person, and they was asking me, why the government pass legislation that when you go to a private institute and something happen, why they don't deal with it, than they try to fix you up and to patch you up and send you to the government hospital, and the government hospital get the bad name in here. Because I listen to Mr. Fordkan and you with the interview, man say it have a war to deal with that children there. But the money will cost, he say. The money it will cost. And I was in an institute right on the Eastern Marina there, where I listened, a doctor or somebody was talking to an elderly couple and tell them, listen, all your money done, boy, so we can refer all you to the Moncton Hospital. And you know, the government hospital get all the blame.
Yep. Because there's a standard that if there's a certain mortality rate at a private institution or public, flags will be raised.
Yeah.
You understand? So they in very many cases now, they stabilize and send you off to public health care.
Right. And I was asking me now, what is the procedure in case of an emergency that you go to a private institute? If you're supposed to refer you one time to the government hospital, what is the protocol in that? You get an accident, and the only place you can reach is a private institute. What is supposed to be? Don't see about you have to pay first.
I really don't know, you know.
I would say we had to pay first.
You have to put your credit card there with a hold. It's like going and checking in the hotel. They hold your credit card.
So you get, let's just say, God forbid, you get shot and you're bleeding out.
Yeah.
And you're pulling a private health care. They say, well, where your credit card while you're bleeding out? And if you can't, well, take them for the Spain. That's why it's work.
But I remember, and I will say this again, years ago, there was a plan to introduce a health card attached to your insurance, I think if it's your health surcharge, that you could use in any hospital, private or public, to get treatment. That was a plan years ago.
I remember that plan.
And all of a sudden, everything changed.
Gentlemen, let's grab these calls. All my lines are lit up. Good morning. Short and sweet.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
But I want more people keep jumping down the throats of minister and the government and all that. We have to first wait and hear what it is, how that bacteria got there. Who it is? I heard they representatives for the children, the lawyers. They talking about all the babies. Isn't one mother or one person would have come in there with that bacteria? Is the government have to pay her too? What is the bacteria? What happened? How it got there? You understand? It's not everything every time. It's just money, money, money. You have to find out what went wrong and where's sympathy in all this. Yes, we could sympathize. Why the first thing people have to think about is money? That's not the first set of babies died there, you know. And the way how the opposition getting on, many babies died under the UNC, including the three of the babies from the 60th. And the baby that got the head cut open from here to there, and all other babies. My niece lost a baby there, born good, had it the night, and the next morning, when she looked, it died. And what? You walk away and you count your losses, and you think everything is money, money, money. Quick, they want to jump down. Let us find the source of the problem. I think they should shut down that maternity ward for now. And let them go elsewhere and until they clean up there and find out exactly what happened. Will any more babies come in there for them to start to jump down the government's throat? Thank you.
You get my delivery yesterday?
I don't even think it's really a political issue, you know. I think the issue of citizens dying in public health institutions transcends political parties, and the issue of whether negligence has occurred is an issue of fact.
Yeah.
Whether it's UNC in power, whether it's PNM in power, it doesn't really matter. If it is your child and your child died as a result of negligence, if that's what it turns out to be, then certainly you can take legal action against the state.
Well, you know, it gets political because I'm sure they would have called for Dr. Fu.
Well, people may look at it politically, but the parents of the children are not looking at the politics.
I agree. I agree with that.
They're looking at the fact that their child is now dead.
I agree with
Let's
that.
grab these calls, gentlemen, before we wrap up. Lots of calls.
Yes, gentlemen. Morning.
Morning.
Some of the doctors in these private institutions, and there's some the same doctors that operate in the public hospitals. Why don't they legislate that these things not supposed to happen? Because I went into a private institution for and where I live, there are nurses there who work in the Port of Spain General Hospital. And in the night, I noticed one of them coming to take care of me, and I said, "But what are you doing here?" And I know for a fact that this person works in the public hospital. So legislation is supposed to be made that these things are not supposed to happen. And we will put an end to these sort of things.
That's a raging debate for years and years and years.
There was a report, I think it's a Welsh report that was created to investigate that phenomenon of whether or not it should happen, and it didn't get support.
And also, Wendell, you know, sometimes I was listening to these, I don't know why people, when they're talking about the salary review commission, they talk about it unfair for the person in the lower scale to be getting things when the SRC made a recommendation for the Prime Minister. It wasn't only the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and all the MPs get increased. Why do they have to single out the Prime Minister?
Yeah, because that's how the media puts it over. The front page of the newspaper today was Prime Minister's salary.
Yeah. Because all right, let's take our final call. Good morning, caller. Short and sweet, quickly.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. I ask the question. Why do they take you after you spend all that money at a private hospital, and when complications step in, they carrying you to the same hospital you didn't want to go? This thing is wrong. And I want to say to Mr. Trinity, the government hospital needs to record when that patient was brought, the condition they brought in, because the government hospital gets the blame. They can handle it and they rush you to the general hospital and you die there. They're the one that death on their hand. Or you better wake up in these government.
Yeah, because it's a business. They can't have that reputation following them.
It's ridiculous.
It is a private hospital. It's a business where they go out there to make money.
You go and make your baby there because they didn't want to go Port of Spain maternity hospital. And when complications start, all you can handle it. So I pay 10,000 for. Look, all you give me a break here.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah.
You all have a wonderful day. Be safe out there.
All right. If you all get Dinesh Rambali tomorrow, I'll join you all. Folks, have a wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God. Richard Angassi won tickets to the play.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He told me that. He wants to come on Saturday.
He had to buy them, Richard. Don't let him go him no ticket, you know. He had to buy them,
So Trinidad and Tobago, of course, theater is out this weekend.
He wanted two comes, okay? He wanted two comes.
Love is a Walk is on this weekend at Cipriani College. Of course, after some fantastic houses at Queen's Hall last weekend. I mean, people can't get enough of this play. You could just go into RSRR Productions theater page and you could see the amount of comments of people who have come to the show.
Yeah.
It's just droves of comments. So the play is on this weekend, Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30. The box office at Cipriani College opens today from 12 noon to 6 p.m. And of course, all the usual outlets. You could check RSRR Productions Theater for where those outlets are. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do. And remember to smile and laugh. It is great for your health.